Part 2. With the explanation of a defined outcome investment in place, let's move on to discuss how defined outcome investments are constructed. Since defined outcome investments are constructed with options, we'll first do a brief overview of how options work. An option is a contract designating both the right of the option buyer and the obligation of the option seller to transact on a specific reference asset at a specific price within a specific time period. The value or price of an option is referred to as the premium. The buyer of the option pays the premium to the seller of the option. At the most fundamental level, options fall into one of two categories, either puts or calls. Options can be categorized in a number of ways. One way is by which side of a transaction an investor wants to be on. In this category, options are referred to as either calls or puts. The buyer of a call option acquires the right to purchase the reference asset at a specific price, otherwise known as the strike price, within a specific time period. The buyer of a call option is hoping the price of the reference asset increases enough to push the price of the option higher. The seller of a call option takes on the obligation to sell the reference asset at a specific price within a specific time period. The seller of a call option is hoping the price of the reference asset declines or remains the same, enabling him to keep the premium he was paid. The buyer of a put option acquires the right to sell the reference asset at a specific price within a specific time period. The buyer of a put option is looking to benefit from a decline in the price of the reference asset. The seller of a put option takes on the obligation to buy the reference asset at a specific price within a specific time period. The seller of a put option is hoping the price of the reference asset rises or remains the same. The seller of the option is hoping the reference asset will behave in a way that enables him to keep the option premium he received from the buyer. The buyer of the option is hoping the reference asset will behave in a way that causes the price of the option to increase.
Another consideration in constructing a defined outcome is whether to use fund options or index options. Fund options are on ETFs, while index options are directly on the index. Both are viable instruments and can be used in a tax-efficient manner. One reason for using index options over fund options is that index options don't incur the expense ratio of the underlying ETF. In cases where no index option is available, such as fixed income indexes, a fund option is a useful alternative. In determining which kind of options to use, Innovator ultimately aims to build each new fund in a way that will best serve the end investor.
Innovator defined outcome ETFs use flex options. Their customizable nature distinguishes flex options from standard options in a few important ways. In contrast with standard options, the terms of flex options can be customized. Unlike standard options, which are generally issued across an incremental range of strike prices, flex options can be written at any strike price down to the penny. While standard options also tend to have standardized expirations, generally occurring on the third Friday in their month of expiration, flex options can have any expiration date out to 15 years. Different types of options can be exercised in different ways. An option is exercised when the buyer of the option decides to execute the terms of the contract. For example, buy or sell the reference asset at the specified price. In many cases, standard options are American style, which means that they can be exercised by the option buyer at any date prior to their expiration. Flex options can also be written as European style options, which means they cannot be exercised before their expiration date. Innovator defined outcome ETFs use primarily European-style options. Lastly, while many standard options are settled by delivering the reference asset, flex options can also be cash settled in the reference asset. Defined outcome investments are constructed across three layers. The first layer consists of two call positions and two put positions, creating a one-to-one synthetic exposure to the reference index. The second layer consists of 2 put positions and creates the downside buffer. The third layer consists of 1 sold call option and creates the upside cap. The Defined Outcome Series funds have characteristics unlike many other traditional investment products and may not be suitable for all investors. For more information regarding whether an investment in the fund is right for you, please see Investor Suitability in the prospectus. There is no guarantee the fund will achieve its investment objective. The fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses should be considered carefully before investing. The prospectus contains this and other important information, and it may be obtained at innovatoretfs.com. Read it carefully before investing.